Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. And today we're going to be talking about B1 Business One automations. A couple of my colleagues, Jen Walsh and James Dainty, are going to join me right after we do a few announcements, like always. So just so you remember, please check out the new SAP Business One user guide. It's been updated for version 10 and all the HANA specifics that have been added to the product since the last book was published about, 2017, a while back. So it's available from Amazon and from SAP Press, of course. Always check out when you have questions about Business One, our Customer Resources Center. It's a place where you can go for all kinds of answers, and they're in various formats, PDF documents, videos, you name it. It's there for you. You just have to find it. If you ever have trouble, reach out to our support desk, and they'll be glad to help you. Part of that Customer Resource Center is the Crystal Reports training site. It has 8 video lessons available for you that you can take at your own pace, free of charge. So avail yourself of this training material. It's a good place to go to learn how to create your own Crystal reports and modify existing reports and formats in Business One. Just a little bit of news. We always try to keep you up to date with what the latest recommended version is for SAP Business One. It is version 10.0, Feature Pack 2202, Hotfix number 1. So that is the official Vision 33 recommended upgrade patch for both Microsoft SQL and SAP HANA databases. If you have plans to upgrade, please check with Total Care before you do, so that they can keep you clear of any known problems and at least steer you in the right direction to make it as painless as possible. And join me every other week for the Connected Enterprise podcast. You'll find it just about every place podcasts are posted, and you can even see it in video format, if you like, on YouTube. So today's topic is all about B1 automations, and Jen Walsh and Mr. James Dainty, welcome to the Wednesday Web Chat today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Jen is going to share hers and talk to us about the new B1 automations.
My name is Jen Walsh, and I'm Product Marketing Manager here at Vision 33. As you guys know, we're going to be talking about automations for SAP Business One, and essentially they are a suite of pre-built sequence of automated actions. And these are designed to replace repetitive manual tasks and processes that are typically performed by humans. Automation has been around for a really long time, but it is often viewed as inaccessible for small and mid-sized companies, and for various reasons. It could be due to expense or lack of resources or missing skill sets. Each automation for SAP Business One is designed to address a functional gap, and these gaps often impact one or more lines of business within a given company, from finance to sales, services, and inventory, even production teams. So some automations are developed for any industry and can be applied or used by any industry, and some are a bit more specific, such as the ability to automatically create back-to-back orders. They are easily customized. Most of the logic for these automations is stored in B1 queries, and they can be easily customized using the customer's own logic without breaking the actual workflows. So these are simple, focused automations designed to address specific gaps within SAP Business One functionality. Just to cover a couple of the primary benefits, for starters, I just want to indicate that we are very outcome focused, meaning that these automations are designed to help maximize the ROI of your SAP Business One investment, as well as your investment in Vision 33 technology. So operational efficiency is, of course, at the heart of automation. It is the largest benefit, but that actually breaks down into some secondary benefits that can actually have quite substantial repercussions for companies. And I'm sure James will talk a little bit about these as well as he's going through his demo. But first and foremost, eliminating manual tasks, things like data entry, spreadsheet calculations. For a lot of these automations, there may be multiple manual steps that have to be taken either by one person or multiple people across different lines of business. And when any one of those points of transition breaks down, you have a break in the process, and that can actually create a lot of issues for companies, and create a lot of costly mistakes. So in addition to saving time by eliminating those manual tasks and processes, you're also able to reassign those key resources who used to perform those and free them up to spend time on revenue generating or growth initiatives within your business. Another advantage to improving operational efficiency through automation is, of course, scaling business operations. The ability to process more transactions without increasing headcount or taking on more of an administrative burden can be substantial, especially for companies that are in growth mode or have projected growth. And as I mentioned, the costly mistakes, I just want to reiterate that those can actually be disastrous. And sometimes the downstream impact isn't necessarily recognized until it's happened. It could lead to angry customers, unsent invoices or missed invoices, unfulfilled shipments, and more. So these obviously have an economic impact on the company, and want to be something that you avoid at all costs. So here are just a couple of examples of automations that have been pre-built for SAP Business One. As you can see, they support multiple lines of business within a given company and address specific gaps in Business One, such as automatically creating AR invoices for open delivery notes, or creating opportunities from sales quotes so that you can take advantage of the pre-built opportunity reports within the SAP Business One opportunity module. I won't talk about these in great detail because these will be the ones that James will be demonstrating in today's presentation. And before I actually pass this off to James, I just wanted to give a shout out and say that if you have an idea for new automations, gaps within SAP Business One that you recognize from your day-to-day business dealings, please submit it to us. I believe Anna is going to put the link to submit your ideas into the chat. We would love to hear from you and build an automation that can best support your business. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to James.
Thank you, Jen. So we're going to start with the automatically raising invoices from open delivery notes automation. So I'm starting in B1. What you can see on the screen here, I've actually got an open delivery notes that I created earlier today. Pretty straightforward, 2 standard lines on there. What I wanted to show you just behind this is I've actually got a query in B1, which is called open delivery lines. And this is basically just pulling out everything, pulling out the data that I want to use in Saltbox to deliver the automation. So you see when I execute this query, I've got the 2 rows from this document that come through. The quantities, prices all match. So I'm going to try and move that little bar so you can see it. So I'm going to minimize this down for a second and then jump across to Saltbox. So this is the Saltbox interface. It's completely cloud-based web interface that you get to. I'm going to start off by just showing you this workflow trigger that that's going to execute the workflow. This is running with the SAP Business One SQL connector, B1 Web API. The data type that I'm telling the workflow to get is to use a query, get query results, and the name of the query just down there is open delivery lines. Jumping into the workflow designer, so that trigger will return the data from the query in B1. And then I've got a couple of simple actions in the workflow, extracting the doc entry and the card code, which is the customer code. And then I go off and actually use the data to create the invoices. And I've got a map sat behind that in my visual data mapper. Just give it a second to load, which actually maps all the fields that I need, similar to what you would do in DTW or any other kind of application. So we're going to go ahead and give that workflow a quick run. That comes back and tells me it's found a message and is currently processing. Just go back to the delivery, so give the delivery a refresh. That delivery is now turned into a closed delivery, and if I look at the relationship map, you see it's actually created an AR invoice for me. There we go. So that's a pretty basic automation, just taking all open delivery notes and creating AR invoices with them. Okay, I'm going to move across to the next one. I've actually got 3 versions of B1 open here, just so I can try and coordinate the right ones. I think it's this one I want. It is. So I've got a sales quotation that I've actually, again, just raised before this call. If I look at this, if I right click on there and look at the related opportunities, it's come back and said no data available with it. So again, there's a query sat in background to this that's actually working out which sales quotations have gone on the system that have not actually had an opportunity raised. And what this automation is going to do for us is actually raise a sales opportunity automatically. A lot of companies we find want the benefits of using the opportunities module in terms of the reporting elements, but find it can be a little bit cumbersome to actually have the salespeople go in and maintain that data. So what this automation does is just try and automate some of that step a little bit. So I'm going to come back into Saltbox again, and we're going to go into this auto create opportunity from quotes workflow. I'm not going to take you through it all again. This is simple action on this one that says go and create opportunities for us. So I'll give that a quick run. That's quickly found it and processed it successfully. So I'll jump back into B1 now. If I do the same thing with the related opportunities, this time what we should find is it's actually got the opportunity there. I can drill into the opportunity. It's populated across things like the customer, the values, etc., and also linked in the sales quotation as well for reference. If this quotation gets updated, the opportunity is automatically updated with the data that goes down. Our data gets updated, and then likewise, when the sales quotation is closed, it's closed in one of 2 ways. Normally, it's either closed without being won, or it's copied to a sales order because you've won the order. So I'm going to copy this to a sales order and just add that in, and it's telling me I'm not going to stop for it. That's fine. I always forget the delivery dates. Okay, so that order's gone. What I'm going to do now is just jump back into Saltbox again, just find the correct one, which is this auto create opportunity from quote close workflow. Now, what this actually does is it's kind of smart. It works out if the quotation has been closed with a sales order, it will go and set the opportunity to 1. If the quotation has just been closed down without a sales order, it will go and change the opportunity to lost. So the workflow's ran. We'll jump back into P1 and just go back to our related opportunities and drill into there. And we found that this opportunity is now being won for us. Okay, final workflow is automatically populating the min-max values on an item master. I just need to find the right one for this. That's not the one. It is this one. So I've got an item master up on the screen. It's part of the demo database, so that's pretty straightforward. And you'll see if we look at the min-max levels at the warehouse level, they're actually set on warehouse 0, 1 to 3 and to 5. Across on the right-hand side, we've created a UDF called the min-max percentage. And ultimately what's going to happen here is that we've got a query sat behind this item. which is going to go and work out the volume of sales, the quantity of sales within the item's lead time. So it'll take the current date, deduct off the item's lead time, which I think is currently set at 21 days on there. It'll work out how many sales that we've had of that item within 21 days and go and actually calculate the min and max quantity based on that percentage. So, you know, if it's 100, say, it would deduct 25%, and if for the max percentage, you would add 25%. So I've got an invoice here in the background that is for that item. I'm using a nice quantity of 100 so that we can actually see this work. I'm going to add that invoice into the system. Okay, that's gone. We can get rid of that. If I execute the query again, you'll see the min-max quantity is now changed to 78 and 130. So at this current stage, the inventory data still says 3 and 5, but then we've got a workflow that's going to come along. Give that a run. There's probably going to be a few items in here, but our item will be somewhere in the list. It's down the bottom there, 0002, and just wait for that to come back with a success message. In a few seconds. Yes, it's going through now. Okay, I'll just try that one last time. Give that a refresh, and it's actually populated, as you can see, the min max quantity is 78 and 130 as per our query. And the beauty of all these, as Jen mentioned before this, is, you know, these are predominantly done based on queries. So you can build whatever logic you want to in your queries and have this, you know, have this or any of the workflows actually do what you need them to do. Okay.
Wonderful, James. Hey, question for you. Like this, can you run this particular workflow like against the entire inventory?
Yes, it does run against the entire inventory, Carl. Basically, anything that's got a value in this min-max percentage field, with the workflow will run for.
Okay, so it checks everything. If it's got a value in the min-max, it'll update them anytime it runs.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably why I saw this one. There's probably 5 items in this database that's got a value in that field, and that's why there were 5 messages come through in this section here.
So it's almost kind of updating that in real time, so to speak, for your inventory, which is awesome.
It can be. And one of the things I probably should have mentioned is the frequency of these automations can be determined by the customers. So, you know, this particular workflow where we're setting the min-max quantity, it might be something that the customer wants to do every day, might be something the customer wants to do once a week or once a month. That flexibility is entirely in the customer's hands.
Very good, very good. That was one of my questions. Jen, I've got a question for you as well. You know, I think everybody picked up here that this is really, you know, B1 Automations powered by Saltbox, right? Our integration platform. How does the pricing model work for, you know, customers that already have Saltbox, customers that don't have Saltbox, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so thanks for the question, guys. So the pricing is actually pretty simple. It is the cost of your Saltbox subscription. So if you're already an existing Saltbox customer, you're already paying for that. And you basically tack on $100 a month, which gives you, and I should say that's per company, and that gives you access to all of the automations. And right now we have 14 automations across multiple lines of business. There is an implementation services cost for those automations. But it is $100 a month to license them, and you can use any and all of them for that $100, at least for the time being. That will change at some time in the future, but anybody that buys before the end of the year gets access to all of them, and that includes future automations as well. So yeah, it is a straightforward SaaS model, $100 a month to license the automations. And then for anybody who is not currently a Saltbox customer, the cost would be most likely a minimum of $300 a month, depending on what other workflows or integrations you have as part of that. So that would really depend on what your overall integration strategy is.
Right. Very good. Very good. And one question I had that, you know, maybe both of you can contribute to is, you know, a lot of our customers have, you know, Boyum's B1 Up and have various, you know, sort of things that they execute with a button or stuff like that. How is this collection of automations different and sort of solve different business problems than Boyum does?
Yeah, that's actually a great. Oh, do you want to take a stab at that, James?
I don't mind. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I'll go on that. So the B1 Up is slightly different because everything that happens in B1 Up is actually happening inside the SAP clients, and there's a couple of downsides to that. Firstly, it is probably reliant on somebody hitting or remembering to hit a button or something like that, whereas the automation pack all runs in the background and it runs automatically. So there's never a risk that someone forgets to press a button or that kind of thing. The other slight difference is, again, because the B1 runs within inside the SAP client, it actually stops the client from being usable during the time that it's actually doing some of that automation. So it might be that, you know, you want to pop open another form and populate some of the field values on that form. That's happening in front of the user, and you know, the user can be a little bit like, oh, what's happening? The screen's flickering. It's doing this kind of thing. Again, these automations with Saltbox happen in the background, so there's no interference with the client's usability for the end user.
That can also affect performance, right, James?
It can do. If you're using B1 Up with an heavy automation, it can be that the client can slow down while these automations are actually happening.
Yeah.
That's a great answer, James. You know, so go ahead, Jen.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just gonna kind of chime in and say that one of the bigger differences, or one of the most obvious differences, is that what the actual solution was designed to do. So Saltbox was specifically designed for SMB integrations and automation, and B1 Up was designed for front-end GUI customizations. So although it does have some macro capabilities, they're really very designed for very different things. And Saltbox, when you invest in automations, you actually license the Saltbox platform, which is, as James mentioned, an iPaaS solution or integration platform as a service, which enables you essentially to develop a holistic integration and automation strategy for your business. And those automations do run in the background, as he mentioned. So you don't have that like client side interference for end users.
Yeah. One other benefit that I think you know, folks don't think about much is we have a lot of customers that use the mobile applications for SAP Business One, whether they be sales or service. And now we have a number of customers with version 10 that are starting to use the new web client. These B1 automations powered by Saltbox work with those mobile applications as well. You know, so because you can't get those Boyum additions into those other mobile applications, they don't work there. But these automations work and show up, the results do, with all of those mobile pieces that we can access Business One with these days. Another question that I had, James, was what's the implementation timeline like for a customer?
So these automations are all in Saltbox templates. So any of the consultants should be able to come along. They'll be able to start a new project in Saltbox from the templates. They'll need to create the queries in B1, which we're actually working on automating the creation of queries, but it's not quite there yet. So essentially, you're probably looking at, I'd say, around an hour per workflow.
It's a good number. And really last question I have, because in our discussions, we've answered pretty much anything else that I was going to ask you both today. Are there, you know, prerequisites, let's call them, or, you know, prep work for customers who want to implement an automation?
They need to be on B1.
Yeah.
Not really. Really, the work is deploying the queries that are required into the database, the actual creation of the project in Saltbox is fairly straightforward. I guess the only thing to probably mention is we only support 9.3 and upwards, so they would need to be on B1 version 9.3 or above.
Wonderful. Well, Jen, you mentioned a list of there's 14 automations that are currently available. Will we can we follow up with all the attendees today and sort of send them something that they have access to?
Yes, absolutely. I will share with you guys a brochure as well as a link to our website, which has the latest and greatest automations. And that's where you can check back for newly released ones. We are ramping up communications on those things as well. So as they become available, the customer relationship managers will be informed and in contact with the customer base to let them know about those automations as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Jen and James, thanks so much for joining us on Wednesday Web Chat, and for all of our other listeners who are so faithfully here every other week. And we'll see you all again on another episode of Wednesday Web Chat.